Live from Austin, Texas. It's the Afterthoughts podcast.
We're back.
Where we talk about faith, fun, family, football, and culture. The 5 Fs, as we always say. We are in Austin, home to the number one team in college football.
Let's go.
The Texas Longhorns.
Awesome, man.
That's so awesome.
Big congrats.
Yep. Way to go, guys.
Team looks great.
Yeah.
We did it, guys.
Yep.
We moved down here with the goal, the vision that we would one day lead the Longhorns to be the number one team in the country. And here we are.
Heaven is more crowded.
Is yours a Christian?
I don't know.
Oh, man. We should find that out.
Yeah.
I think you would love Red Rocks Austin.
We'll call him. He got hurt in this past game, and then Arch Manning came in and balled out.
Arch looked great.
They
both look good.
He ran faster than Peyton and Eli ever have in their lives. 67-yard touchdown.
We might be able to run faster than Peyton and Eli.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Watching a Manning run that fast is so funny.
It was shocking.
Yeah.
He is young. He's in college. But the Longhorns are set up.
Peyton, back in his Tennessee days, he would run a little bit.
A little bit.
Here and there.
A little bit.
But not like that.
Not super
Then he
athletic.
stopped valuing it and stopped
Didn't
working
need
on
to.
it.
Yeah.
He just valued his quarterback mind.
And by the way,
Yep.
I want to do a shout out to them. I watched a little bit of the Peyton and Eli and Bill Belichick Monday Night Football.
Yes.
Just watching their knowledge of the game is so inspiring to me.
Yeah.
Like I want to have that level of knowledge about the Bible one day because they just know everything. It's really, really cool.
Also, very funny part of the Manning cast was they had Miles Teller on there from Top Gun Maverick.
Yes.
And they just tore apart the football scene. They're like,
dude.
So Miles, can you explain to us how this type of football works where two footballs are snapped at the same time onto two teams that are both throwing the ball? How does that work?
Dude, it is
offense and defense at the same time.
It's my one complaint about that movie. Such a great movie, but football is the ultimate team sport. Like the writers couldn't come up with a way to write that in where they're bonding because they have to like overcome a different enemy.
Or just play the game correctly.
Right, dude.
Like they said that they're like, was there nobody on set that stopped to be like, hey, this isn't how you play football?
Obviously.
This is not how the game works.
This is nothing.
What did Miles say to that?
He just was he's like, well, there's a lot of baby oil and abs and all that. But this will make you feel better, Doug, in light of your recent injury. Glenn Powell, your guy's long-lost brother, he said that Glenn Powell got hurt filming those football scenes, like hurt his knee pretty bad.
He did?
Yeah.
Yeah, that does make me feel a little bit better.
Incorrect football on the beach.
Yeah.
Which leads me to ask, what happened to you, Doug?
How are you doing, Doug?
I have 3 injuries right now. Not kidding, man.
Yes, you do.
Well, I did something. I think I broke my wrist or more likely a ligament like 6 months ago.
Right.
And the reason I think ligaments is because they heal way slower than bones.
Right.
And Doug, what is a ligament? Well, we got you.
Well, it's kind of like caffeine.
Okay.
So
got it.
Next week.
I can't explain
Coconut
caffeine
milk
now,
okay.
but I kind of want to keep putting that off.
Yeah.
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 Anyways,
It's the ultimate.
I am,
cliffhanger.
and then my left hamstring, and most recent, I broke a rib playing softball.
All 3 of those
week.
all that from softball and pickleball.
And it was like an epic
Yes,
moment, right?
Yes.
So
Softball and pickleball.
that's tough.
Like an epic thing that happened
Yeah.
to help you.
Yeah, you broke your rib because you like dove into the fence to rob a grand slam to win the game.
Like a very close game.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's heroic. Okay.
I slid
Leave it
for
there,
a ball
man.
in the outfield.
Leave it there.
Just a little diver.
I didn't catch it.
Little diver.
Because I was too busy breaking my rib.
You caught the ground.
And it hurts so bad.
Yeah.
I'm
It's hard to breathe, I
getting
bet.
very little sleep right now.
Good.
You can't sleep, dude.
Which is good since you have a baby too.
Yeah, that part's cool.
Sorry, man.
So
Awful.
I'm icing. I'm like going to town icing 3 injuries right now, trying to make this as quick of a healing as possible, but I'm not healing as fast as I used to. I'm noticing.
Right.
So
Yes.
I'm getting
You and Glenn Powell.
injured more easily and I'm healing more
Yeah.
slowly.
At least you're really good at resting,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you'll be fine with that.
Yeah.
The Buffs beat CSU, Colorado State. We took down the
go.
Rams. Thank God.
That was the first Buffs game I've watched in years where it wasn't close.
Yeah. That was
Like
nice.
first win that we've ever had.
It was felt
Plenty of
uncomfortable.
losses that haven't been close.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, we didn't know what to do.
I have to point out one moment from that game. It speaks to a larger reality
Okay.
of a world of people who just completely lack self-awareness.
Yes.
So CSU's quarterback. I don't even remember his name.
It's like a double last name, isn't it?
Yeah, which just pick your lane. So this dude, they're losing. It was 14-3 at this time. He scrambles out. He goes and runs out of bounds for a 1-yard gain. The guy who chases him out is Travis Hunter, the best college football player in the country.
Yeah.
The most athletic, incredible guy on the field by a mile.
On the planet right now.
Dude,
Yeah.
insane.
Running up to tackle him, he just runs out of bounds for a 1-yard gain, and the quarterback turns and gives Travis Hunter the too small, like goes like this to him, which is like in sports a thing people do to be like, you hit a shot in a guy's face and just give him the too small. Like, no, man, you can't guard me. You can't defend me. You're too small. He does that to Travis Hunter after a 1-yard gain. Let's turn that into a sermon analogy. And ran out of bounds.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So let's turn this into later in the game,
Yes.
Travis Hunter made an incredible play and it picked off a pass from this dude.
Yes.
Didn't even acknowledge him. Didn't look at him.
Doesn't have to.
Doesn't need to.
No.
I've seen Ethan get fired up about a lot of things watching sports. I've never seen you that
That's
animated
the most
about
out
something.
of like. You have no idea where you are and what world you live in that you're giving Travis Hunter the too small. It blows my mind.
Uncommon unawareness.
How can you
Preach a message right now.
It's well, I can just make more fun of it. You guys can come up with something meaningful.
Okay.
It's like me pretending that like I can't pick something up and Zeke picks it up, and then he actually thinks he's stronger than me for the next 5 years.
Right.
Like, how do you
God
have
in
such low perspective? What?
God versus in us.
Yeah,
go.
basically.
Yeah,
It's
it's like Satan watching Jesus on the cross and thinking that he wins.
Giving him the too small.
He's like, look, I beat Jesus. No, you
It's
didn't.
like-
It's like looking at the Rocky Mountains and then giving God the
Giving him the too
right?
small.
Too small.
Yeah, man, you can't
Yeah.
keep up with me.
Yeah.
So that
I can build
that
sandcastles.
absolutely shocked me.
Mhm.
But Travis
Wow.
Hunter is incredible.
He's so good. I love him.
We'll get him on here too. Him, Arch, and Quinn Ewers. And Quinn Ewers is not seriously injured, thankfully. So
Good.
Good news.
Good.
Good news in college football after last week was fairly depressing in general about sports, but the NFL.
Yeah. Speaking of
is
double last
depressing.
names, Cam Taylor Britt or Cam Britt Taylor,
It's
cornerback
Come on,
for
For the
the
Chiefs
Bengals.
or the Bengals. Yeah.
that interception.
yeah, the interception. One of the
Still-
greatest interceptions ever made. They were comparing it to Odell Beckham
OBJ.
Jr.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
of course, the NFL found a way for the Chiefs to win that game. You start to wonder.
That's
It was brutal, man.
you're
points
becoming the conspiracy
Dude.
guy with sports, and
But
I'm here for it.
where would the conspiracy
I
be,
love
though?
it.
Where would
There
it
was
be
a-
at the
there
end
was-
of the game?
There was, I think it was a penalty.
Pass interference call.
There was a pass,
But it
interference.
was a pass interference.
Right.
There was something else in that game. I was so blind with rage. I don't even remember. I'm so sick of the Chiefs always getting the call, always getting what they need.
My tension, though,
Ugh.
on Sunday afternoon was flipping between the Broncos-Steelers game.
Super good game.
Oh, man. That was the most boring
Just
football
so
game.
awful.
That's what the Broncos do.
It was so boring.
Yeah.
So
Awful.
boring. And then the Chiefs and Bengals were playing at the same time. So I have this game I want to watch,
Your loyalty to the Broncos.
but there's nothing about it that's fun to watch.
There's
I'm
not-
like, this
there's
isn't
not
even
even-
a football game.
There's not a part of you that at that point thinks we're going to win that game,
No.
which we didn't.
No. And two teams that are both bad, trying to figure out who's less bad.
yeah.
And then at
Yeah.
the exact same time,
Mm-hmm.
two fantastic football teams
Yeah.
playing a real football game
Right.
that is entertaining and came down to the wire,
Yep.
but you hate especially one of them.
Yeah.
So that was my tension. And then finally, I just chose, I actually want to watch a football game
Yeah.
versus,
We should-
maybe the Broncos will get another field goal. Maybe.
We should just become
Yeah.
Bengals fans. Start cheering for
Hey,
Joe
we're from
Burrow.
Cincy.
We were born there.
You guys could
Yeah.
claim it. I
Yeah.
have Jamar Chase on my
I
fantasy
basically
team. He's
made
not
that interception.
doing crap for me.
So
We are the reason that interception happened and that the Longhorns are the number one team in all of the land.
We've done
Yep.
it, guys.
Great job to the Afterthoughts
Episode
podcast.
55. Pretty good.
I now have
can't
to
wait
do.
for episode Ocho Cinco.
Nice.
Everybody's hurt
And
also in
30,
the NFL.
and
There's more
yeah.
injuries in 2 weeks than I've ever seen before. I'm not alone in this, but half my fantasy team is hurt
Yeah.
already.
Doug broke
It's
a rib.
crazy.
Seriously, dude.
Doug broke his rib.
I don't know who's
Christian
softball
McCaffrey.
fantasy, who's middle-aged men fantasy softball team I'm on, but man, whoever picked me
Upset.
cursed me, dude.
Dude,
Because
seriously.
I got
In 1 week, I watched Christian McCaffrey's just not playing.
yeah.
I watched Cooper Kupp, Isaiah Pacheco, and Joe Mixon all on my team all leave their games with ankle injuries after I've already lost Jordan Love, my quarterback, and my tight end, Jake Ferguson. Everybody's hurt. And then the kicker of Doug breaking a rib. Are you kidding me? We're going through it here. This is now a sports segment called I Stand Corrected.
Okay.
One of our avid viewers, Andrew Barnes, hailing from
Michigan,
the national champion, University of Michigan, who got crushed by the Longhorns. He sent me some information about the new kickoff rules. Last week we were talking about how dumb it is, and I said, I think they're trying to prevent guys running it out to prevent injuries, but I was wrong. He said, just FYI, and I know I can't be the first one to mention this today, which he was.
You were.
The new kickoff return format was set in place to enhance returns, not decrease, as you mentioned on the podcast. The new format is set to also reduce head injuries, as the kicking return teams start with a rugby-style format further down the field. But the hope is the kickers are encouraged to kick the ball in the landing zone, enhance the chances of a return, because if they kick it out of the end zone, it now gets placed at the 30. 2023, specifically week 1, saw the lowest amount of kickoff returns since 2000, as low as 22%. This season, they're predicting an 80% return rate, which is what the team want. Puts more pressure on special teams, more uncertain games. Not saying I agree or disagree with it, but this is the truth.
Wow.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Well
written.
That wraps up
Barnes.
our segment. I stand corrected, and now we all know. And knowing is half the battle.
Yes.
Kayla, questions.
Yes.
Let's do this.
That's really great for you to admit your wrongs.
That's right.
Yeah. That's
Humility is the key to faith.
Okay, so speaking on
Write that down.
sports and college and stuff, you know how college game day, they do the kicking contest with some college students?
Oh, yeah.
Pat McAfee.
Yeah,
I love Pat.
his
He's
name.
got the best
Pat on
life.
here, man.
His job is amazing.
Pat, come
Yeah.
join the Afterthoughts
He just
squad.
rips his shirt off on the set with Nick Saban sitting next to him, just like
Him and Nick Saban could not be more different.
No,
but
they love each other.
Personality-wise, but they love each other.
Oh, yeah.
So did you see this past weekend's thing? Okay, with the kid who thought he could totally make the kicking, like the field goal, essentially.
Yeah.
I didn't see this.
I didn't either.
$120,000. So they were, because he was like so confident, he was trashing all the kickers, like it's so easy. So they like said double or nothing, like, okay, we'll give you like $120,000 to win this. He completely it goes 90-degree angle.
His shoe went up in the air.
flies off.
How old was this kid?
in college.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
That's
that makes
phenomenal.
it.
Pat
Yeah.
McAfee
Phenomenal.
ripped him
Oh,
apart.
yeah.
He's like, worst kicker ever.
yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to go watch
Yeah.
that.
I know.
So my
Yes.
question is, if it was $120,000, could you make a field goal, or is it harder than you
From
think?
where?
From where?
I don't know where they actually. I feel like it's,
I think it's like
Is
a
it 25 or
30-yarder
30?
or something like that.
Yeah.
We can look it
do
up.
you have confidence in yourself, or should you pass
Well,
it to
I'll
somebody
say
else?
it this way. Well, first of all, he should be on I Stand Corrected.
Yeah.
This college kid. Am I right? Second,
Yeah, I'll
little
tell him.
humility, huh?
Yeah. it goes a long
Okay,
way.
so back
It's the
in
key to
high
faith, I
school,
heard from me.
me and Corey Sawicki, remember we used to go to
yeah.
we used to practice field goals.
Yeah, it's fun.
And I hit like 4 in a row from the 30-yard line, which was a 35-yard,
40-yarder.
40-yard,
Yeah, 40-yard.
which was a 40-yard field goal.
So yeah.
You were always really good at it.
But I don't think I could do that under any sort of pressure.
I
Right.
feel the same.
Or with 10 other players on the field or 11 on the other, like trying to block it. Like there's
Right.
no way.
Yeah.
in the
there's
setting
no
they're
way.
in, it's
I
just a
also-
free shot.
Yeah.
Like it's set up for you. Everyone's cheering for you, but I would crumble under that pressure. And speaking of injuries, guarantee I would tear my hamstring.
Oh, for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been good at field goal kicking.
So there you go.
There you go.
man,
So,
I'm
Shout
so
out
it
to all
sounds
the
like no.
kickers.
We got to get Corey Sawicki out there. He would have.
Yeah.
he
Corey
would have hit
could
it.
do it for sure.
There
Yeah, you know
go.
what everyone can relate to? Every kid that grew up playing football, backyard football and stuff, is that kind of feeling where you're holding it for your buddy and you kind of go like this. and you're about to kick
Yeah.
it, or you let it go right before.
Because of the scene from the Little Giants.
You know you're
Uh-huh.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's true.
Great
Nobody
question,
talks
Kayla.
about the guy that's holding the football for him.
No.
They need to get
Unless
more
he messes
respect.
it up, laces out.
So
right?
true.
But having to be that
Ace
guy.
Ventura. Remember that? Laces out.
For instance, like, I don't know who that was. The backup quarterback, I think, does that most of the time.
Hammer the puncher, yeah.
But like the guy doing that for Adam Vinatieri,
Yeah,
2
the
Super
Super
Bowls
Bowl.
in a row. Nobody talks about him. You have to catch that
Like you could mess
and
this
get
up.
it down right. Yeah, man.
so
It's
true.
like when was it Romo's fault when he was holding in that playoff game with the Cowboys back in the day, or was it a
Yeah.
bad snap? I don't
No, I
remember.
think that was
you remember
Tony
the play I'm
Romo.
talking about?
Yeah.
Might have been
he
Tony.
bobbled it.
Oh. Larry David has a great classic football bit where he just goes off on how there should be no kicking in football.
Yeah. Sounds like Larry David.
And I agree with him.
Wow.
Yes.
So that was my question. Next question. So you guys kind of every weekend, it seems like you almost do like a masterclass TED Talk type thing. However, if you were to actually do...
You mean a sermon?
Yeah.
Gosh, that's so true though, isn't it, Kayla?
Doug actually preached a sermon called "This Is Not a TED Talk."
We'll send it to
I
you.
know. Yes, I know. However, this is like going into my question. If you were to do a masterclass or a TED Talk, but it couldn't be like sermon, like God, faith related,
Yeah.
what would your TED Talk be?
Mine would be called "This Is a TED Talk."
There you go. Great. And it'd just be all about this is a TED Talk.
Okay.
This is a TED Talk.
That we're good at.
That's a great question.
You should do fantasy football.
Yeah.
You could teach a master class.
I don't think
on
I win enough to justify that.
But you understand it better than anyone I've ever met.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What would I teach that on?
I know.
Marduk.
Ryan. Sermon on
Marduk.
Birding.
Masterclass.
Masterclass on different birds.
We got into birding.
Something about Top Gun.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Doug's is just how to memorize movie quotes.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I think what we're realizing is we're not good at much outside of
Man.
that's what we do.
Not necessarily a question that's supposed to stump you.
Yeah.
No, I know what I would do. I would do a DIY.
There you
A
go.
house DIY
Yeah.
Dude, you'd be great at that.
masterclass
There you
teaching
go.
it'd be, let's say 7 episodes with 7 different DIY projects that are easier to do than you think, that will completely change your house.
Yeah.
And increase the value by like 10x more than what you pay for materials.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I'd do a class called Dad Chef.
Nice.
How to make good, simple meals.
Yes.
Yep.
Because I'm pretty good at that.
There you go.
Yep.
I could do on steak.
Yeah.
I'm very, very, very passionate about pasta salad.
Wow.
Huge pasta salad.
Big
guy.
pasta salad guy.
You've always been a big
dude.
pasta salad guy.
There, you could wake me up in the
Yeah.
middle of the night with a bowl of pasta salad.
Done. I'll
eat
do it.
on the spot.
I will do
I'll
it
be
this
over
week.
tonight.
Come on. I give you my garage code, man.
I know what it is. Should I say
Yeah,
it on
but
the
I
air?
bet I can guess it.
Please don't. The alarm's going off, and I'm like, it's okay, Steph. It's the pasta salad prank. I got to go back to sleep.
I got
Oh man. Mine's gonna be how to masterclass
There you
your
go.
morning routine.
Yes.
Oh.
We're talking ice baths, we're talking workout, we're
That's
finding what
actually
works
really
for
good.
you. We're talking about
So
getting up before the
true.
sun rises. We're talking about the morning light.
Okay, here's a question that a lot of people struggle with. How do you actually hear your alarm and get up, like get out of bed? Like most people are like, I try to get up early and I can't do it.
Here, I am a huge proponent of finding an alarm that works for you. We get so stuck on just having the same alarm that we've had for 5 years, 10 years. There's lots of great clocks that are affordable that have different sounds. I'm currently in a bird phase, and so it's just chirping birds.
It just comes on at whatever time.
And
What kind of birds? I
and
think
it
our
slowly-
audience is wondering.
It slowly rises.
Finches.
Yeah, they're finches. And
Seagulls.
it gets louder and louder, and I wake
That'd
up
be nice.
peacefully, and
Yeah.
I never hit the snooze button. Try it out.
Ooh, that's, it'd be nice. It's like a morning ocean with the birds.
Dude,
seagulls and
for whatever reason, we
pelicans.
were like programmed into thinking
Little
it has to be
light
like
waves.
a wah, 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 or whatever.
Oh, dude.
And it's like, why would you start your day with a
Just
panic
immediately
attack?
terrified. Oh,
Or
crap.
Mayo's taking notes on that.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to get the
Well,
wah, wah.
our buddy Matt was just showing me at his house that him and Molly have this it's one of those hatch, like a really nice hatch one.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
like the lights, sunrise
Slowly starts
to
for
rise.
them and sounds come on, and they leave their phones out in the kitchen at night.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
And they just have that very peaceful.
Dude, ease into it, you know?
I'm into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
sure. Is.
I use this.
He is into it, dude.
E is
Vibrates
into
on
it.
my wrist.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
And that
wow.
wakes you up?
See? Yeah.
No sound, huh?
Oh, yeah.
No, it's your rib. That's your alarm.
That's my rib. Right now, I don't need an alarm.
I'm already up.
I'm just awake all
Doug's
night.
working on just trying to get a little sleep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Kayla, thank you for asking.
Yeah, no problem.
We don't say that enough.
Happy to do
Just
it.
practicing gratitude more.
Wow.
Is that
Uncommon,
it?
uncommon gratitude.
I actually had
Gratitude's
one
the
more,
key to
and Ryan, you
faith.
kind of stole the show a little bit.
What?
Oh, no.
Actually, no, you teed
Morning
me up.
routines.
You teed me up. I have a question that says, what part of your daily routine do you enjoy the most? So not necessarily the morning, but any
for
part
1000% morning for me. My day starts here and just goes down.
So what part of the morning routine then do you like the most?
My morning walk.
There you go.
That's my favorite part.
What's your morning routine?
Changes depending on the season and depending on what I've got going on.
And the
Okay.
birds.
And
Which
the birds. But right now, phone outside of the room, straight to a chair where my Bible is there. I have a reading routine that I do, a little prayer routine, and then a quick workout. And the goal is to get outside before the sun comes up. It's really nice right now because the sun doesn't rise until like 6:30. But I love the morning light. And so I love getting out for my walk or a run while there's still some stars in the sky. A nice full moon this morning.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was so great. And then watching the sunrise in the eastern sky, that's where I feel most creative. That's where I feel like I have a lot of clarity for the day and where a lot of my best ideas come from.
You know what they say? Clarity is creativity.
Yeah,
I've always said that.
I am spitting bars today.
drop a beat behind this guy, man.
Are you asking like what time frame of the day or what element of the routine?
Yeah, what element of any part of your
I mean,
routine?
my honest answer is my meals. I love eating.
Your simple dad meals?
Simple chef dad.
Chef
Or
dad.
dad chef. What do
You
we
could
think?
honestly
Ponder.
package that as
Cooking
like
with
a,
dad. Dad's cooking.
like imagine there's like this dad out there that is like, I just don't have time to make meals. And
Oh.
there's chef dads.
Dude, let me tell you about ballpark sandwiches, BPS. One of the easiest things I've ever made, and it was a staple for Steph and I, our first year of marriage. Ground beef, just cook it up in a pan, and you make a sauce. You mix a little mustard, mayo or ranch, ketchup, mix that up. Put some pickles chopped up in there. If you like tomatoes, you can. Put it in a hot dog bun or on a hamburger patty if you want, but it's messier.
Yeah.
It's basically a
It's like a
sloppy
sloppy
Joe,
Joe.
but we call it BPS, ballpark sandwiches.
It's basically
See? And it's all about branding.
And guess what? You just made BPS in 10 minutes and you feel like you're at a game. So you have a great night.
Dude. Or Mayo, can you just clip that for Ethan's YouTube
That's
channel?
episode 2.
Wow.
So many ideas.
So
God.
many ideas,
Oh,
man.
I don't have enough years on earth for all the ideas. Okay.
Doug.
Morning.
But
Morning
like
routine.
what part? I think we're all missing the question.
The question is what element
Yeah.
of your routine, not what time of day.
Okay, the
Which
very
we're not-
first,
yeah.
the very first 15 minutes before exercise, before any of that stuff.
Yep.
Wake up and I feed Luna
Nice.
and I drink a lot of water.
How
get
much?
rehydrated. Whatever.
Ballpark it.
A full
BPS,
Stanley, a
ballpark.
full Stanley water bottle. Exactly that.
Oh.
Yep. And then another cup of water that has athletic greens mixed into it.
AG1, future sponsor.
Our sponsor.
So I get hydrated. I get AG1ified.
Yes.
And then I go outside into my backyard and I do usually one round of Wim Hof breathing. And Luna's out there and it's peaceful and it's still dark.
Julian.
It's still completely dark out and I just love it.
Nice.
And then that's like just a little kind of touch base with God right away.
Yep.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, so morning for all of us. Thank
Yeah.
you for asking.
Dude, how's doing breath work with a cracked rib?
It's hard. Yeah. Breathing is the most painful thing.
Good.
Well,
Which is
it's the most painful
something
part
that-
of having a broken rib is what I meant by that.
How
Yeah.
often do you feel like you breathe?
I'm doing it way less now.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Less water, less oxygen.
Yeah. I breathe like 3 times
Key
an
to a
hour.
healthy life.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh man.
We were talking
The
about
pain.
we were talking about Marduk.
Yeah.
Talking about actually traveling around the world together. And sometimes I wonder like how, I don't know how it happens from a scientific space, but we have gotten so much on the same wavelength. Like last week, we all wore hats to the podcast. This week, none of us wore hats. Like
Yeah.
we have to check with each other before any event. Like, what are you guys wearing? Because we're going to match.
It's
just
the
going to,
silliest text we
happen.
feel like we send each other
but it's needed
all week long,
'Cause
but we have to
we'll
do
show
it.
up in the same
will.
color combo.
Maybe the same
hats.
exact shirt.
You remember that
We've
day?
worn the same hat or shirt like 5 times in the last week or 2.
Remember that day in Colorado where we showed up to your place to pick you up to go to the gym? and all
We have
three
a
of us have
picture
the
of this.
same
Yes.
hoodie. Let's put
We
the
have a
picture
picture
up.
of this.
Same hoodie, same like navy shorts, same black shoes.
Everything the same. We'll get you that
Same,
picture.
I think long socks too.
And we have 3 friends who, for Halloween, were that, making fun of us.
That's right.
They were that picture.
Uh-huh.
That's very funny.
Yeah, that's. How do you think? Why is that?
Well, Doug's gonna explain it next week.
Yeah.
Because
Wavelengths,
we haven't had our
caffeine.
we didn't have our caffeine yet.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
But this is a serious podcast where we have deep conversations, and we're gonna do that now.
Yeah, obviously, we don't waste your time.
Dude, that was such a good
Obviously,
transition.
we really value your time.
Yeah, we know you guys have a lot on your plate.
Podcast, so
Let's get right to it.
all right.
I do realize how little people like to enjoy themselves. They're like, yeah, I skipped through the funny parts. I'm like, what?
Oh, cool,
Okay.
man. Try laughing for once in your
Jeez,
life.
do you have such a serious life that you just
Yeah.
need? Give me the cutting 5 minutes of the most serious,
Maybe
hard-hitting
what
stuff.
you need actually is only the funny parts
Ooh.
and not the
So
serious
stop
parts.
listening to it now.
And with that said, welcome to the Afterthoughts podcast, a conversation of authenticity about faith. And the key to faith is humility, as I once said at the beginning of this episode.
Yep.
This week, it was very
And
nostalgic.
bad people know very little about badness.
That's right. Thanks, Clive Staples Lewis.
Yep.
Clive Staples, posthumously our guest here. I don't know if I said that word right.
What was that word?
Posthumous. That's like when Heath Ledger won his Oscar. He won it posthumously. I feel like I'm saying it right.
I don't. I've
Caleb,
just
will
never
you
heard
look
the
at
word.
It can't be. That's so hard to say it that way. I couldn't
I didn't know how
say
to
what you
spell
just
it.
said.
Posthumous. It's a real word.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Let's see if I can. Does it play?
You ever just start saying a word and then you just question your entire life? You're like,
That is all of my life.
here we go. Posthumously. Okay. That was close.
You turned it into 2 words.
Posthumously.
Oh, I knew how to say it. I just want everyone to know that we're just regular people too.
There was a word.
Posthumously. Guys, that's how you say it.
You turned 1 word into 2. First off,
Yeah. I did not say that right, but you guys had never even heard that word. So
That is true.
posthumously.
Posthumously.
Posthumously. Someone
Thanks,
said that
Clive.
once and I heard it and was like, I guess that's
Oh,
it.
I guess that's my word of the day. Let's see if I can work it into my podcast.
That'd be a great exercise to find out how many things you like heard when you were 7 and you just have believed for the rest of your life that
Yep.
were not true. So
There was a word while I was recording the audiobook for Single Today. There was a word I couldn't hit, and you have there was a person in my ears, like in the studio, listening, and she kept saying it, and I kept trying to say what she was saying, and I tried 10 times, and she goes, "You know what? I think we got it." We just moved on.
We
do
got
you
it.
think we got it though? Because I don't think I got it. It's great. We just made that hard stop in this episode to try to transition into a serious conversation, and then I just tanked it. And what a waste of a couple minutes saying unnecessary. Didn't even need to bring up C.S. Lewis or try to say that word. Oh man, dang it!
Try it one more time.
Yeah.
Posthumously,
There you go.
C.S. Lewis, who is posthumously our 4th guest on this episode.
Okay, here's a Easter egg for anybody listening to this podcast. You have to say that in your sermon this weekend. Find
There
a way
you
to
go.
say it.
Dang it!
And
I
it'll
don't
be-
want to.
It'll be fun for anyone that listens to Afterthoughts.
That's
I don't
so
want to do
good.
that, but I'll try.
You got this.
So it was very nostalgic listening to you.
Was what you were saying, yeah.
the
Yeah.
different word that I'm
Yeah.
saying, hopefully, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about traveling and our first exposure to other world
Yeah.
religions and faiths and gods,
Yes.
other gods that people believe in.
Yep.
Talking about Fiji specifically, when we flew there, you expect it to be just like this cool surfing island where we're going to do clean drinking water stuff, right?
Right.
And it is that, but also
Yeah.
the island is half native Fijians and then half Indian people moved from India.
Yep.
So there's a heavy Hindu culture
Yeah,
there.
28% of the island.
28%?
Mm-hmm.
And what percent of the is Islamic?
I only looked
Okay.
up that.
Much less. Much
Is
less.
it?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
How many Catholics?
Right.
Ryan,
the
give us some more.
Fiji expert.
Yeah. Obviously, you're a Fijian demographer.
Is it India that's almost half and half?
India
It's
is
like 49%,
heavy.
49%, and then 2% Christian, basically, in
I
India.
think it's much heavier Hindu, especially now, because the government is very Hindu and pushing against Islam and Christianity. So yeah.
I got the percentage if you need it.
Of Fiji?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you use AI?
Google AI.
Nice.
Yeah. Islam 6.3%.
6.3.
In Fiji?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Hinduism 27.9%, and then Christianity 64.5%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But where we were was predominantly Hindu families, surrounded by Hindu families, and we had a lot of dinners and a lot of exposure. Never had been exposed to the Hindu faith before.
Yeah.
I think that people tend to, on our side of the world, look at the world religions and they think that God is, like, the Christian God is the no fun one. That the Christian God is like, wants to take from you and wants to kill the fun of your life and just give you a bunch of rules and all of that. Being exposed to other religions, I would love to hear how that started to change how you saw the God you grew up hearing about in Christianity and the gods that you were exposed to in other faiths like Hinduism.
Yeah. That was like really the whole point, the goal behind this past weekend of Uncommon God is that trip was when I started to realize just how uncommon Jesus really is. The fact that God would step out of heaven to be with us, pay the ultimate sacrifice so that we can go free. All of that is amazing. You know what else is also amazing? That Jesus showed up to a wedding in Cana and turned water into wine. You know, that Jesus hung out with people, that Jesus had meals with people, that when Jesus saw Zacchaeus, the tax collector, he's like, let's go to your house. Let's have some dinner together. When he sees Matthew, he just invites himself over to Matthew's house and is like, let's sit down at this table and let's hang out. Like, Jesus is so different from any worldview or religion that anybody has been able to create. And when you read the Gospels, you just see like this. We were just talking about the book Beautiful Outlaw by John Eldridge, which is a book that we all recommend. It was a staple for us in that time.
Book. Yeah.
Because John Eldridge just points out like how over the top generous Jesus actually was and over the top fun Jesus actually is. And super compelling to me that is the story. And so it was fun for us as we were surrounded by all of that. It's like it just kept strengthening our faith more and more and more.
Yep. Sorry, were you going to say something, Doug? You said something that I have felt.
Every word Doug says hurts currently. So.
He's choosing his words wise. Stop breathing. I think there's an important distinction to draw of respect when it comes to talking about other faiths. And you did this really well. Because when we started going into other environments, we live on the side of the world of tolerance of everything. So you have to be like, I love all religions and I love all things. Yeah. What I found was when I went to other places, I gained more love and respect for the people and I lost any respect I had for the religion. Because I wrote in my journal, so you told the story of Chenille, the guy who we would visit. He was our age, young adult guy, had horrible stomach pain and believed the whole thing was because his dad wasn't going to temple enough and making the right sacrifices and doing the right spiritual things to appease the Hindu gods. And I wrote in my journal, I read it this week, went back and looked at it. I've never seen spiritual slavery before like this. I've never experienced someone being literally like enslaved and chained to fear because of the religion they're growing up in. I think a lot of people maybe grew up in a version of Christianity, unfortunately, that's like that. But that is where the stark difference of the love of Jesus and the freedom of Jesus came to life for me. And where I've become more comfortable, I think, to talk about what other religions believe and not out of like those people are the enemy and something's wrong and those people are terrible, but because the ideologies are such a human-made place of chaining people to something that is so terrifying that I see the enemy working behind in so many ways. That same trip we were in Haiti, and that's where you see it the most upfront, where they know like it's witchcraft and they'll call it what it is. This is we worship the devil. We've made a pact with the devil. We are making sacrifices, whatever. And we are literally afraid that if we don't appease him, he will come after us. He will strike our family or bring some sort of disarray on us. And I've just seen that working its way out in other religions all over the world of the enemy just chaining people in fear and making them feel like if you don't do this right, something horrible is going to happen to you.
Right. Yeah. And that's actually not your words or your words. Those are the words of the people that we were surrounded by.
Yeah.
Or lived next to, who described their belief systems.
Yeah.
I've mentioned Haiti in a few different messages here. And it's funny because I every time I've had at least one person come up to me and kind of say, how could you put words in their mouth and say that Haiti made a pact with the devil for 200 years, or that, you know, most like talk about like witchcraft in Haiti, and how can you like, I'm like, I'm not.
No.
I lived there.
Yeah.
And they are, everybody there will say this to you. Right. Everybody there will explain, here's the history of our nation.
Yeah.
Or Chanel, here is what I believe according to Hinduism and our belief system.
Yes.
Is my stomach pain is because my parents have not been worshiping these idols of these gods that our family has inherited to appease.
Yeah. We had witch doctors that literally told us, I know who Jesus is.
Yeah.
And I have a deal with the devil and I can't get out of it right now.
Yeah.
So this is what I do. I remember we had a next door neighbor in Fiji who was a Hindu guy. He explained reincarnation to us. We were asking him, what do you believe about the afterlife and all of that? And he explained to us, based off your performance in this life, you will come back as something else. And I remember his dog was in the front yard and I asked him, so do you believe that was like a person before, or it could be one day? And he said, yeah, like that, technically there's a soul or something there that that's their current karma. And that's why they live this. That's one of the things that I think we do a lot as Westerners is we think we know what the other world religions believe, but a lot of times people are like, well, actually Hinduism is way more loving and way less what you're talking about. I'm like, that's your version of it though. I'm talking about an authentic version that I learned from people there that are Hindu people.
Correct.
And it wasn't in a contentious debate. They were just telling us this is what we believe.
Yeah.
But we have watered down in the West all religions to make them all seem very tolerable and very loving and kind of try to shy away from the actual real narratives of those. We're the same thing. Like in Uganda, we went to a mosque and it's one of the biggest mosques in the world. I think it's the biggest mosque in the Southern Hemisphere, maybe, or one of. And the guy, I remember the imam who toured us around, he was the coolest guy.
Yeah.
And we sat down and had a conversation. He gave us a Quran, we gave him a Bible, and we talked back and forth and learned about the religion and asked him, so do you believe that what will happen after this, your afterlife, is dependent on your performance? Yes.
Yes.
He told us, yes, it's based off if I do enough of this, and this, and that is the true meaning of that faith. Yeah. And so that, putting all those things next to each other is why I say I gained so much respect and love for the people.
Yeah.
Because also we grew up in a country very much where people looked at other religions and people of other nations and nationalities as enemies. Yeah. And that all falls down when you're just having dinner with somebody talking back and forth about your life. And you realize you're a human being just like me. We may believe different things. We can have a great conversation. But seeing the fear and the chains that it was putting people in, I think is where I lost respect for those things. And it makes you want to introduce them to Jesus. I remember walking in Fiji and having a conversation in the midst of sharing the gospel all over at these houses with different people that were asking us, who's Jesus? Tell us about him. Yeah. We're like, why do we shy away from this? This is the best news you could ever tell anybody. Yeah. That God actually loves you, that God actually came for you, that he's actually personal and wants a relationship with you. That whole experience, and I think it centered a lot in Fiji, was very life-changing on how I viewed other faiths for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and viewed evangelism, right? At some level, there's like this pressure that you feel to evangelize, to tell your neighbor or invite them to church or whatever. And it's all at some level, it's like a fear-driven thing where it's like, oh, I guess I feel guilty enough that I have to do this. And I think as we were having that moment, and as we were going on that walk and having that conversation, we were realizing, oh, we actually don't have to be motivated by fear in this. We can be motivated by love because we actually have phenomenal news to share with the world. And so we don't have, it's not like this, like, oh, I'm nervous right now, but I'm going to be bold and I'm going to go do it. It's more like, I've got really good news and I can't help but speak about it. What's fun for me is when we were going into that trip, our verse was Acts 4:20, which was, we cannot help but speak about what we have seen and heard. And if I'm just being real, like preach really well as we were raising money, but in the back of my mind, I was like, no, I can definitely help speak about what I've seen and heard. Like I'm terrified right now. But it was moments like that where I was realizing like, no, I can't help but talk about Jesus right now because it's just really, really good news and I just believe it.
Yeah.
And so something happens as you start to really experience the freedom that Jesus brings, where it's just like, I got to just tell everybody about it. We had Cody on here, our friend Cody, last year at some point or earlier this year. I don't remember, but he's such an evangelist, and it's just because he actually believes the gospel. And so he can't help but share this good news. And so, those trips were formative for us in so many ways.
Yeah. I have vivid memories of walking through red light districts in India. And so much of the caste system in India is a consequence of Hinduism and reincarnation and that whole belief system.
Yep.
Because if you are considered an untouchable, you're the lowest in the caste system, you're in red light districts and you're the poorest of the poor, well, then it's believed that's because in your former life, you lived in such a way to deserve to be reincarnated as an untouchable.
Yeah.
So for somebody in the red light district who ascribes to that belief system, it's fear-based because they believe, no, this is what I deserve. And I'm now living out what I earned.
Yep.
And hopefully I'll do better next time. But I don't deserve to be treated better than this. And I don't deserve news that's greater than this.
Yep.
And it's the same thing on higher tiers of the caste, where they'll tell you, no, you can't go help them because they're there because they put themselves there and they need to live better there so they have a chance of being reincarnated at a higher level.
Yeah.
And so, and if you mess with that or tinker with that, then you're disrupting something that's pulling the strings behind the scenes, or the gods that are in control of all of that.
Yeah.
It's just, man, it's seeing that and going, so that really is, I know there's so much more to it than that, but you go, so here's the fruit though of a specific belief system, meeting people in every tier and falling in love with people, going, man, I've got so much better news for you.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine being a slave to this belief. I can't imagine it. And it makes you, once again, to reiterate, you gain love and respect for people and you lose respect for a belief system because you see what it does firsthand.
Jesus would show up on that scene and hug the leper and go sit with the untouchable and heal and say, let the little children come to me. Like what Jesus was doing was so uncommon.
Yeah.
Compared to every other worldview, he's so uncommon. And that's why...
I mean, some of the women that we would go pray with and bring food to and stuff in the red light districts, their backstory was that their own father at 15 sent them to be temple prostitutes because that helps their cause as a family, because that feeds into the priests and all of that kind of stuff. After a few years of that, when they're considered sort of aged out and, old news, they're cast out and they're disgrace to their family now, who sent them because of their faith. So their only shot now is to go to the red light district, and they go into debt to a pimp and become a sex slave. And that was all rooted out of their family's belief system. And those were the moments for me where I feel like the righteous anger of Jesus, in the moments like he would flip tables about that kind of stuff. When religion steps in and creates situations like that. That's the kind of stuff that makes you so badly want people to know the truth of who God is and get away from the deception. And it goes back and back and back. It's passed down, right? It's not that people start out, I think, malicious and just want to create this mess, but it's this is what we believe and this is what you do. And we're stuck in this that leads, and then nobody goes to help that woman because that's her karma. So don't mess with that.
But it was a real gift to get to see up close and personal. Belief system. It's kind of like if you've ever gone to a movie because the trailer looked awesome or the movie poster looked awesome, but then the movie was, that was terrible. That was nothing like the poster or the trailer. All we have here in the United States when it comes to a lot of those other religions is the trailer. Or not even the trailer, but like a movie poster that looks cool. And it looks like, and that's why we get that belief system should be just as valued and the people should be.
Right.
But you got to go see the actual movie of what that belief system teaches.
Which I think asks the question. I remember a friend of mine, Mike Hills, we were in Nepal, and there's a heavy Hindu and then Buddhist population, and we're talking real Buddhism, not the movie poster Buddhism.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked the question as we were like trekking along and we're just talking about these different faiths and things. He's like, so if like as a Christian, as a believer in Jesus, for me to not share him with someone would actually be about the most hateful thing I could do. And it kind of stopped everyone in their tracks, because we live in a time and space where you don't step on anybody's toes, but it was like, man, to not tell somebody, to not share how uncommon God is and how uncommon Jesus is and who he is and how he feels about you is not actually loving at all.
Right.
In the name of tolerance.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's loving to see the image of God on everybody, because that's true. We're all made in the image of God, but it's not loving to let somebody continue to worship an image or an idol and pretend like it's working.
Yeah.
When we have a better option.
Yeah.
And so to find ways to dive into actual dialogue and ask really good questions and build friendships and relationships and help people see that Jesus really is offering something completely uncommon and completely better. To me, that's why the Great Commission just makes sense to give our lives to. That's why we planted this church. That's what we're trying to do. And by the way, a lot of the westernized versions of these religions that we end up having pastoral conversations with people who are into it, it's dressed up to look. It's like how to make a makeover, but it's the same fear-based thing.
Yeah.
And so like I'll talk to somebody and they'll be, telling me about how, I just believe that I can attract these things into my life. And so I'm trying. And then I meet with them 2 weeks later and they're exhausted because they're like, well, I haven't been doing my meditations enough. And I'm like, this is religion. You're doing the same exact thing where you are trying to earn this on your own. And now you find yourself exhausted. And Jesus says, hey, come to me, anybody who is tired and done trying to do this on your own, and I will give you rest. What Jesus was saying was exponentially uncommon and different from every other religion and worldview.
And in the name of tolerance and kind of accepting every belief and acting like they all say the same thing has created New Age spirituality and this whole move that has recreated religion, but it feels like it's not, because it has no rules. It has kind of no real foundation and doctrine, so it's kind of a free-for-all.
Right.
But it's just the same thing.
Right.
Of having to do enough things to make your way to whatever it is that you're
It's the same thing,
seeking.
but with self at the center instead of with God at the center.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is ultimately just going to be so exhausting.
Now, the reason that all of this attracts people and cultures and runs the show in so many ways on earth is because that makes sense to humans. Like, we even do this on such a small scale.
Yeah.
Obviously the self part, because we just love for ourselves to be at the center and pride, but the religion part, we do this in simple ways like, oh man, gotta make sure the football gods are on my side, right? Like very simple, low level, like we don't actually mean that. But what you mean in that is like, or the golf gods, I need the golf gods on my side today. So that means if I play smart golf on hole number 1, I'm going to have a good hole number 2 because I'm doing things the right way, and it's going to lead to the outcome that I deserve based out of that. That makes sense to human beings. And that's why we are attracted to and get stuck into these things, which is why uncommon is such a perfect word for God, for Jesus, because I think that's why a lot of people don't know what to do with him or reject him, because he doesn't make sense to human nature. Like it feels safer and more comfortable, even as dark as it can get, for the ball to be in our hands to earn our way than it does to surrender and let him lead and trust that he loves us and has grace for us.
That's really
because we have to give up all the control.
The call is uncommon surrender, where you go, okay, but I'm not, okay, so you're just telling me I'm not going to play that game anymore and I'm going to trust you. And Jesus is like, yeah, trust me. And that's
not easy.
That's a scary thing to do. It's easy to do when things are going well. It's very difficult to do when you come face to face with trials, temptations, all of that. It's hard.
Because sometimes they ask the question, why is this happening? And religion has an answer for that. Because you screwed up. You did something wrong. Your dad's not going to the temple enough. So you can grab control and go, I can fix this.
Right.
Even though it doesn't work necessarily, but it makes more sense than to go, I don't know right now.
Right.
Our God is mysterious.
Yeah.
I can't tell you exactly why this is happening right now. That's a hard space to sit in. That takes faith versus control. And that's a very hard place to live in.
Yeah, especially when you consider how similar. So for instance, Galatians talks about God will not be mocked. You will reap what you sow.
Yeah.
So God has designed his creation that whatever you sow, you will reap what you sow.
Mm-hmm.
You will reap more than what you sow, and you will reap after you sow, which is a system God has designed, but that can also sound similar to some of the things you guys just said about religion. If I do this, then this will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you separate those two? How does this mysterious God go together with also a system he designed where you do reap what you sow when it comes to habits and daily decisions? And how does this not become your religion?
That's a good question.
I've been thinking about that question for like 2 years.
Oh, do you have an answer though?
No,
Oh,
not yet. Not yet. But it's such a phenomenal question.
Yeah.
And the closest I can always get is it starts with identity, right? Is all of the reaping what you sow is true. God baked that into creation, but you can't be doing that in order to prove yourself to yourself or to anybody else. So all of the daily habits, as soon as it becomes, I have to do this so that I can be the super spiritual guy.
Yeah.
That's a highway to burnout.
Yeah.
Right. It has to start from I'm already loved. It's Jesus coming up out of the water going, that's my son with whom I am well pleased. And then everything that we do has to be from that place and not for that place, like we always say.
Yeah.
It's the closest I can get to an answer to that.
Dude, that's so good. I think, and I just realized this as you were talking, like there's God who is for you, but a God who's for you will also discipline you because he's for you. Yeah. You have spiritual warfare and an enemy who is against you. But when it comes to golf, or when it comes to just this daily habit that you have, people call it the universe. I've been thinking a lot about why do people say the universe, if I do this, the universe will do this. I actually think the universe is you could call it the largest thing that God has created that encompasses all of creation down to you and this thing that you're doing today, including within it the law of you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
Also the law of gravity.
Yeah.
Also like all the law of thermodynamics. You know what I mean? All of them is all within creation. Yeah. And you have a creator who sits outside his creation. For those who don't know the creator, they're just going to describe it as the largest other thing that they do know of.
Dude.
And the universe basically is a word synonymous with all of God's creation. So when you say, like, it's very tempting, I think, like, let's say you play by the book on the first couple holes and you play smart golf and you find yourself doing well. That's not because the creator or the enemy is for you or against you on the third hole. It's because there's certain ways, part of God's creation and his principles of the universe, which is not the largest thing. It's creation, but there's a creator who sits outside of it.
What if our definition was the universe, the largest thing we can still hope to control?
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, dang.
But
because
there is,
you can't control God.
Caleb, write that down for my next tattoo.
But that's why, like,
so
if you start just making good decisions, and you do those 5 things a day for a month.
Yeah, you're eating healthy.
People will say, man, the universe is just going to kind of reward you for that.
Yeah.
Well, or just you
just stop drinking.
Yeah, you just exactly
poisoning your body.
You started working out. You started eating better. You started sleeping better. Even the idea of luck is if you just kind of do the right things and you put yourself in the right positions, you will just experience luck more than people who don't do those things.
You increase your probability that you will experience good fortune.
Correct.
Yeah.
We just turn it into a religion when we give it a personal, when we make the universe a friend rather than just creation. And we call the universe is either your God or it's your enemy. But it actually is just you're reaping what you're sowing. Or it's also just life just happens because because creation is fallen. So the universe is fallen, but it still operates in certain ways that are not.
Dude,
But outside of it, does that make sense?
That's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of it too is intention, where like religion is a mechanism for control.
Mm-hmm.
And we love that.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think people will take some of those, but you reap what you sow type things and put their expectation onto it of what I better sow because I am reaping this, where I don't think you always end up reaping the fruit you expect to with God. Like you sow heavenly things and you will reap heavenly things, but it's not to say exactly what those heavenly things will be.
Right.
Where we might want it to be financial, it might be spiritual.
Correct.
Right. So what we do with like the universe mentality and stuff is try to take the control back and take some of those biblical principles, but then put our own language to them so that we can kind of get what we want out of it.
Right.
When you were very lovingly dismantling the New Age movement in the Colossians series, I wrote this note in my phone. Manifesting is asking for what I want. Yeah. Prayer is asking for what God wants.
Right.
And we hear people say, I'm going to manifest that. I'm going to manifest that. The universe, I'm going to make that happen because they want to reap what they want to reap.
Yeah.
And they want the control of what that's going to look like.
Yeah, which is why nobody's trying to manifest clean drinking water for kids across the globe who don't have it.
Yeah, they're trying to manifest a girlfriend.
Manifesting is like selfish in its nature.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's here's what I can get for me.
Yeah, but it's us, when we say I'm going to manifest that, it's us saying, I'm going to work the universe to give me what I want out of this. Where prayer is an act of surrender to go to God and say, here's what I want, but your will be done.
Right.
I ultimately know what I want, what you want, because what you want is better than what I want.
Yes.
We don't always feel that, especially in times of difficulty and struggle.
Yes.
So we grab back at it and go, no, I'm going to be in charge here.
And then I would say sometimes we swing the pendulum too far to the other side where there is no your kingdom come and it's just your will be done. And so then we get scared and we're praying for something and it's like, but it's only if your will be done. Yeah. It's only if it's in your will. It's like, no, that's going to happen. So just pray for the healing to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in other words, as image bearers, it's not that we are creating these things on our own. And it's also not that we're just robots who are here just to like lift our arms on Sunday and worship. It's that we have been invited into this story to co-create alongside God. That's why these questions become so complicated. And that's why there's so much to that exact question that you just asked, because we are created in the image of God, but we are not created to be God. And the temptation will always be to try to be like God, but we're not. We're called to surrender that. And that's why it's your kingdom come and your will be done. And so those are a lot of unpolished thoughts, man, but I think this is so important for the future of the church.
The last thing I'll say, I remember years ago hearing Erwin McManus say he reflected on a conversation he had with his wife or somebody else he was close to. And we'll just say it was his wife. And she said, why do people call it the universe and give credit to the universe and not God? And his response was, well, they don't know God. The biggest thing they know is creation, is the universe. And so you can see the effects of God. But if you don't know it's there or he's there, you can't know him.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I think that is like for so many who, chalk it up to the universe as a higher power. It is your higher power. It's the highest power that you currently know.
Can conceive of.
Yeah.
But there is a creator who created that big universe that encompasses all of creation, who is waiting for you to know him personally.
Dude.
So you're just trying to give credit to the largest thing you're aware of.
But the question we're asking you to consider is what if there's actually a creator beyond that you can't control?
Yeah.
And that you have to just surrender to and trust and enter into a loving relationship with. That's really the question when it comes down to it.
And the hope and what you were trying to communicate in your message is the beauty of that question is the invitation is to a loving God who's uncommon in all the ways that don't make sense to our human pride, to our human need for control, to our human want to earn things. Where like when God's commandment, do not have any gods before me, that's not because God's like insecure.
Right.
It's because he knows that if you put other gods before him, you're going to end up sick, and you're going to think it's because your dad's not doing enough work at the temple and live in fear.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Dude.
God always, like when God gives you a command, it's for your best, where a lot of these other religions that we were immersed into was the gods give you this and it's for their best. So it doesn't matter what happens to you, you better do this for them, and maybe you'll get good out of this or maybe not. But God gives us commandments for our best to build us and grow us closer to him because he is good, loving, and we get to experience that through that. So ultimately, most of our audience is Christian people, most likely. And to anyone who's like, well, I think you misunderstood any other religions that we talked about, I would challenge that person to say, go immerse yourself and live in a culture. And we aren't experts on everything about every world religion by any means, but we have lived in them and sought answers and talked with people and had a lot of meals with people of the main other world religion faiths and learned a lot through that process, which in us has, again, built love and respect more and more for the people of the world and more of a certainty and desire to share Jesus with everyone we can. And that would be my challenge to Christian people, is to look at people in your life, and it might not be that they have Hindu idols on the wall of their house, but in some way they may be living in fear, maybe of Jesus. Maybe they have a very religious version of Jesus in their life, and they think that it's a karma relationship and I've got to do this and this, otherwise he's going to want nothing to do with me. How can we as Christians showcase our uncommon, amazing Savior to a world that desperately needs him? Because everywhere we went, what we found is there's so many beautiful, wonderful people in the world, and all of them are trying to figure out what the heck this is all about. Who is beyond all of this? What happens to me when I die? And do I have a shot? Because I know I'm an imperfect person, and we have the best news that they could ever hear. So that would be our call. So that's why the Great Commission is the one thing Jesus tells you to do.
Well said. That's all any of this is. It's just a bunch of finite humans who have had a couple of decades to try to figure out what this whole thing is about. That's what we're doing together.
And Jesus has given us the answers. And we had a serious conversation. Kayla didn't think we could do it.
Yeah, she sure didn't.
Wow, me of little faith.
Kayla, this is a little segment called I Stand Corrected.
I stand corrected. You guys
it's one of our favorite new segments on the show. Well, go Buffs, go Longhorns.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's all.
And that's it.